The amount of disappointment that I have right now, I just recorded an entire rant. And when I went to upload it, it said that some of the materials were damaged. So I'm not understanding, computer. I'm not understanding, but this is the life. So hello. I just did an entire conversation, which we're going to redo right now in real time, sort of, because this is recorded, on a few ways, a few hacks that I have to mentally pull myself out of the slumps of business. Because when you're in business, or you have a creative expression that you're launching or a project that you're launching and managing, it's very easy to get this roller coaster effect of emotions. And I'm very intrigued and love the psychology of what we do in business, in life. I like to pull in real world examples of things that I've experienced and learned myself as a now 30-year-old entrepreneur. I'm on I think it's my sixth business. I've had a lot of different projects, a lot of different businesses. And I've learned a lot, and I've loved a lot of what I've done, and I've not loved other parts of it. So there have been moments where you're investing money. I have invested money, and I've poured my heart into projects and poured my heart into things. I've wasted thousands and thousands of dollars on ideas and concepts and life, right? Just having different ways to kind of try things out or explore opportunities, explore concepts, explore ideas. And because of all of that constant investment that goes into it, energetically speaking, it's very easy to have your emotions tied to what's happening on the success side of it. Now, I'm in a place finally where I am very sure of myself and very comfortable with my skills and my offerings and what I do for a living, but it wasn't always that way. And I went through a long part of my career and my entrepreneurial journey really doubting some of the things I wanted to do, wondering if the dreams were too big or if they were too outlandish, or maybe I thought they were a good idea and maybe it would fall flat. So I'm here to tell you that that's normal. And if you're looking for some inspiration in your entrepreneurial journey, I invite you to just subscribe, follow along, stay connected with me. How I am in these videos is how I am in real life. And I want to keep it that way. I want this to be very authentic and genuine because I think there's a need for it, right? As entrepreneurs, there's so many networking events. There's so many business groups and things that we can be a part of. What I hope to share in this series of just random videos that I'm going to be uploading often, ideally, is just sharing everything that I've gone through, everything I've experienced, the lows, the highs, the things that I've learned, the things that I am still learning. It's an always evolving process. And so you'll see on this channel specifically, I have a curated list of like pre-made, well-organized videos, 3 reasons why, that kind of stuff. But I also want to include conversations like this where you can just really hear me. We can be real with each other. I would love for us to interact down in the comments or on socials, because I think there's a real need for just humanizing business and really understanding the academic context or our academic understanding of what our brains are doing throughout in that process. So there is this book called The Dip by Seth Godin, and it explains it does a great job of explaining like the roller coaster emotions that we go on as creative entrepreneurs. Or, if you're starting a business, it's a creation. I don't care what you say. Like, you are creating something. You are putting energy into something. It is being created. It is being made. But they do a great job in just explaining this up and down movement that we go through in our minds. And it is a process. This is just a part of the journey. Some days you feel highly inspired. Some days you question why you're doing this in the first place. And the real beauty in that journey and that process is that you get to feel every part of that and still come out on the other end having learned and been exposed to so many things that you never would have experienced if you didn't do it in the first place. And I can say now on the 2 businesses that I have now, that there's so much reward in just going through the journey and being okay if whatever you're doing is not your end goal. So a little bit of context on me if you're new to the channel. I am a current fractional CMO, which is a basically part-time or less than part-time contracted chief marketing officer. So I've been in marketing now for over a decade. I had a short stint in the military where I was active duty for a few years. I did my service, and I decided that life wasn't for me after I had my kiddos, and I bounced. I finished my contracts and I left. And so for me, I feel like I've reached the highest of highs in my career, on a path that I feel more aligned with. There are so many different paths you can go on in any industry that I feel very satisfied with the path that I chose in marketing. And even more than that, I feel like the person that I've become today is so much more sure and so much more grounded and confident in my skills and my abilities because of that journey. So it's been a journey, y'all. It's been a real one. I have plenty of stories to share. I've had a bankruptcy that I went through a few years ago because of business that affected us very deeply and also liberated me in so many ways. Like, I'm going to have to do just a story time on that because that changed my life, but in the best way possible. And you would never think that because everybody's like scared and terrified of bankruptcies, but it really liberated me to the point where like I'm at such a different level now mentally because of it. Amazing stuff. You see, you can't make it up, and you never would go through it if you don't put yourself out there. So anyways, that was a quick energy change up. A couple of things that I do. If you're feeling this like dip or this lowness around what you're doing in business, you're feeling the doubts, you're feeling the worries. If you look at a video that I posted not that long ago, just a couple of days ago on storytelling, like AI planning my life, I met a woman through Threads. So this gives me hope for social media as a marketer. I met a wonderful woman through Threads who runs a CEO collaborative. I joined that collaborative. It's a small group of us that meet bi-weekly. And she prompted us to do this activity, which to me was mind-blowing because I never thought about using AI in that way. I'm very logical, and I'm trying to help pull myself out of being in that logic brain, that work brain all the time, because it's exhausting. I am a mother. I have to do that with my kids. And I don't want to just be in executive mode all day long, every day. So I have outsourced a lot of my like structuring and planning and some analysis to my AI tools. But this was a little bit different because she prompted us to use it as like an inspiration piece, right? To storytell, give me an in-depth, beautiful story explaining a day in the life of me living my dream life. And that just completely inspired me. So first thing I would say is to find a set of tools if you're feeling kind of low, to find a set of tools that you can work with that are going to help you tap into that frequency of inspiration. It is a frequency, like we're hearing this word everywhere now, but it's like tuning the dial on a radio where you get to choose the channel you want to dial into. And sometimes, as you're on this journey, that channel is going to switch up on you and get real fuzzy and get real out of reach. And then you are responsible for manually tuning it back to another channel or, another frequency that you want to listen to. So that is exactly what this journey is like for us. A lot of it is, choosing the channel you want to be on, but also being ready and flexible to attune to the different channels as you're on the journey, as you're on the road, doing what you're doing in your business. And finding the tools that are going to help you get there are just going to help you streamline to do that so much faster. Once you get out of the emotional feeling the emotional pull of wanting to be frustrated and defeated and depressed and, questioning and doubting. Once you realize that it is what it is and just take it with a grain of salt, that this is a natural part of creation and being creative and trying to put something into motion, then you start to kind of look at it with less shame and less weight, and you can then start to kind of lift it off or clear it up or, shift in a different direction. So tools are really helpful. I do a lot of journaling. I have different go-to books and websites that I use when I want to just look up quick quotes, read some inspiring stories. There's apps that you can use. Like, I think one of them is called Headway, I might have to link it up in here. But basically something that you can read, and it gives you like a quick digest of these books in like 10 minutes or less. So that's a really quick way, if you're busy, to just like switch your mindset into something more motivational. Looking up motivational speeches. We all have access now to platforms like TEDx, which is free. You can get on there, search your topics, and just get some quick inspiration. So those are really easy ways to just like quickly pull yourself out of a slump if you're feeling it in your business. The next way I would say in this very unorganized chat that we're having is to practice gratitude in a way like you've never done before. Like really feel the gratitude. I feel like it's easier for me to do that now that I have a family and I have had so many failures, and I've also had some really amazing successes. It's allowed me to really highlight and focus in on things that I am really thankful for, and really connecting to that gratitude, knowing that today, if my platforms were to just disappear, I would be okay. It puts it in perspective. It makes it so that not everything is an emergency, because it's not, right? Like if this email campaign doesn't make it out today, like it's going to be okay, right? So just realizing that not everything is an emergency and that I can really have gratitude along the way. For the first literally decade. So like I just recently am learning this lesson, you all. The first big parts of my career, I everything was an emergency. Everything was like, I have to stay up later. I have to stay on longer. If it's not going to get done, nobody's going to do it. That mindset put me into such a state of just inflammation in my body. I developed an autoimmune issue with my thyroid that fortunately is not full blown. I am helping manage it with just trying to be healthier and less stressed. But a lot of the stress I was causing, I was putting on myself, because I felt that if I just stayed on a little bit longer or stayed up a little bit later, that I would be closer to my goal. And the reality was I was burning myself out for something that really could be negligible. It's not something that monumentally moved my companies forward. It's not something that monumentally shifted the way that I, was making revenue or the awareness that I was having. And so once I started really just being grateful for what I had and being grateful for also the time off and the time away, that I really started to become excited about what I was doing. There's a term floating around now that's like soft entrepreneurship. I really align with that. I only work 3 days a week. Occasionally I'll get on, an extra day or something for an hour or so. But for the most part, I've been able to get myself to a place where I can just work the 3 days a week, and it works for me. It's made it so that I can have those pauses. I can focus entire days on just whatever it is that I want to do while the kiddos are in their schooling. And then my weekends are dedicated to the family and also to myself, but also, the family as a unit. That was the lifestyle structure that I needed at this time in my life. And I always say, for now, not forever. You can implement something now based on where you're at in your life, and really accept and embrace that it's for now, not forever. So the gratitude is it for me. That's what I need. And the last thing that I would recommend out of all three of these in this random chat that we're having is time off. Earlier this year, so again, all life lessons that I'm literally living and learning now. Earlier this year, I forfeited a contract that I had. And it was a contract that I was so excited to be a part of. It was a celebrity brand, beautiful friends. I mean, I have so much love, even to this day, I have so much love in my heart for these groups of individuals. Even though I am aware that I potentially burned my bridges with them because I had gotten myself to such a state of burnout with my health. I had a re-diagnosis of my thyroid that I thought was healed and gone and fixed. And unfortunately, a lot of those symptoms were re-emerging during that time. I didn't have a really good balance with myself. I was always trying to do something. I felt very unhappy. I felt very stuck. I felt very ungrateful for a lot of parts of my life and myself. And all of those feelings were showing up in my day-to-day work. I was realizing that it was a little bit more difficult to focus. I wasn't as clear-minded. I wasn't as calm. Maybe I was misunderstanding things. It does happen. And what we don't talk about enough in business is the mistakes that we've made, or the corrections that we would do if we could go back in time. If you are hearing me and you know I'm talking about you, I do apologize. I have apologized. I sent apology emails, but I'm just putting it out there again because I'm in a place now where I'm so much healthier and happier. I'm so much more clear-minded because I had the time off. So when I decided to forfeit that contract because I was just drowning for no reason whatsoever, it wasn't hard work. My health was not there for me. I had neglected myself. And when I decided to forfeit the contract that I had, I committed to 6 months off to be able to work and just focus, to work. Wow. There it is. I committed to 6 months off to take off of work and commit to my schooling. So I was finishing my master's. I really just wanted to focus on myself. I wanted to get into meditation. I wanted to tap into some of my spiritual gifts that I had. So just really focusing on my spirituality, my connectedness. We had a big move. We moved to another state. So, a fresh scenery, fresh opportunities out here. I did a lot of different things in that time off that contributed to where I'm at now, but I needed that time off. I think now where I'm at, and especially with my degree in IO psychology, there is such a power in having a sabbatical or having time off, because a vacation doesn't quite cut it. When you're on a vacation, what ends up happening, if we're really real with ourselves, is you come back and you have double the work for a week or so because you're playing catch up. And to me, that's negates the entire reason for a vacation. You can't be on vacation thinking about the amount of work you're coming back to. So that's where sabbatical is really different. And unfortunately, most companies, I have seen a rare few that offer sabbatical after you work with them for 3 to 5 years. But most companies don't support having sabbaticals. And it's really sad to me because now that I've entered my 30s, I think in my mid to late 20s, having a sabbatical would have done a lot for me to be able to pursue my self-development and just grow as a person, which in turn makes me a better professional when I show up to the workplace. And I started working at 15 happily because I was making my own money and I had the opportunity, and it was encouraged by my family. It was a wonderful experience, but I really hadn't taken a time off since then, right? So I entered the workforce at 15, and because of the way that our school systems are designed and the way that our workplace culture is. We're kind of taught like that hustle, hustle, hustle. You gotta show up and clock in and do the hours and do the time, which really just feels like prison to me now. But hence why I'm an entrepreneur and I do this now. But yeah, there was a real power in me being able to take that 6 months off and really focus on myself in a way that I had never done before. And I have such an inspiration for life now. I'm so much happier. I'm more excited. It just changed so much for me. I would love to do a story time on just that alone. But those are the 3 things for me, right? So finding the tools that work for you to process and work through those emotions, being able to have an adequate amount of time off, and then allowing yourself to like really feel those moments and have gratitude for what we do have and what you have accomplished and the experiences that you have and the person that you are today. There's room for it all. And so I just felt compelled to leave this message today in this random rant that we're having. And I hope that it was impactful for you. If it was, and you love this kind of banter, solo banter, this kind of conversation, this kind of vibe, and you're at all interested in business and marketing, I would love to stay connected with you. Because again, the goal here is just humanizing business, authenticity, sharing some stories that I have, my experiences, and just being open with you all, because I think that there's a space for it now and people are craving this kind of interaction. But I will be around. I might see you guys in the new year, but I will be around. And until then, I hope you take care of yourself. I hope you truly enjoy what you're doing, what you're creating, what you're offering to the world or to your communities. And I will see you on the other side. See you next time.